Cool. Okay, so we've taken the old hang tags off. Quickly remove the protection that has kept the strings off the neck. Wow, okay. This is the Dolphin inlay that they speak of. Yeah, at first impression, very lovely. Some beautiful figuration around the sound hole. Again, some mother of pearl and white pearl inlay by the look of it. It's got some dot markers on it, which is kind of cool. The first ones I saw of these didn't have the dot markers. They only, the fretboard markers. They had the dot inlays on the top, but they didn't have the individual fret markers, which wouldn't be a problem for me per se, but I guess for some guitarists that rely heavily on having the dots on the fretboard, it would have an impact. Wow, okay. So just giving the I haven't got a stocking with me, but I don't think I need one. The frets are beautifully rounded. Quite spectacular actually, for a guitar at this price point. Pretty impressive. Just noticed the translucent pickguard. You probably won't pick that up much on camera, but it's got a beautiful translucent pickguard on there, which is fabulous for those of us that don't want to wreck up the body of the guitar. Look, I don't care so much. I play my guitars live and they get beat as hell. But for those that want to maintain that brand new look, I think that's a fabulous feature. Let's have a look at what we got around the body and the sides. So yeah, beautiful double, like a really nice binding. Binding on both sides. We've got a solid Sitka spruce top by the looks of it. That definitely looks solid. It's not a laminate. It's solid mahogany back and sides. Yeah, definitely solid rather than a laminate. You can just hear that even in the resonance of the body. The satin finish on the neck. A number of people that have reviewed the guitars have talked about the satin finish on this neck. Satin's become incredibly popular, primarily I guess over the last 5 to 10 years, maybe longer. But you rarely see a satin finish on a guitar on this price point. So that's kind of relative, that's rather impressive. Yeah, specs say a bone nut, and that certainly looks like a bone nut, and also it's a bone saddle. Rosewood bridge, rosewood neck and fingerboard, and we'll check this definitely out later on, the pickup system as well. Very vintage looking, kind of cool. Kind of reminds me of something you would see maybe on a 70s or an 80s semi-acoustic guitar, and but I kind of like it. It's kind of got a vintage appeal. The most important thing, people, will be how it actually sounds mic'd up, as we all know. But the look, yeah, it's going to take a little while to get used to that, I guess, but it's kind of cool. It's interesting. The headstock is really nice. I've seen the headstock on their more entry-level series. I believe Trumon have got 10 guitars that they have in their range. The earlier models are more of a boxy kind of Taylor-looking headstock, kind of that or a Gibson. They've got a very cool look about them, but this particular one impresses me more. One, I believe the inlay on the headstock is beautiful. The finish of the headstock is really, really nice as well. And whilst they don't actually mention the brand of tuner, they just say they're a high precision gold tuner. And I guess we'll get to see what the tuning stability and everything of these are like. But at a first look, I would certainly say it's a really, really well-made guitar. There is some evidence around the neck joint down here that you can see if you look up really close. That, if I'm honest, could be slightly better finished. You can actually see the joint very, very clearly. It's not a bad thing per se, and it certainly is not an indication of poor manufacture, but it's it's not as smooth as you'd see on some of the high-end guitars that I would normally be accustomed to playing. Getting back to that, there's some beautiful inlay you can see around here as well. Yeah, it's different. It's kind of like an overlay on an overlay. It's interesting, and I think it'll be striking on a stage. It's certainly different. And the other thing that they talk about, and I've heard mentioned not only in a few reviews, but Trumon talk about it on their website a lot, is that they're extra access cutaway. And this is phenomenal for a guy with big hands like me. I mean, I got big hands, to get up, I haven't tuned this thing up yet, but to get up to the 17th, 19th, 20th, 21st fret on an acoustic guitar can somewhat be quite cumbersome and complex. People with smaller hands, maybe not so much, but certainly for guys like me, to get all the way up here and feel comfortable, I believe once I tune this up, I could really get up here and I could play a solo right on the top fret. What are we talking here? 15, 17, 19, 20, 21. So it very much feels out of the box. Pretty much feels like a Strat. I think it's a 648 millimeter scale length, which is what it feels like. And yeah, I'm kind of interested to get this up and playing, put some stretch into these strings and see what it kind of feels like as a guitar. Because the other two things I just noticed as well is that it's got both your strap locks already included on the guitar. Again, a nice feature. Not something that's that hard to do for someone that's got some experience with guitars. I put strap locks in most of mine, but I've bought guitars $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 that don't come with one. They might come with the bottom one. They very, very rarely come with the neck strap lock. And these are actually a reasonably high quality strap lock as well, and they look like they've been very professionally inserted. So I don't think you're going to get a lot of concerns or issues around playing this guitar live. I mean, I'll have to give it a run and sort of see how it goes, but they feel very tight, probably even better than I would say on some of the more expensive guitars that I own. And as a guitarist, if you play standing up or you play for a living, or you just play gigs in general, having a guitar that's your strap's going to stick to and stay safe is an incredibly important feature. So whilst a little thing on a guitar overall, I'm pretty impressed with the way they've delivered on this all around. Yeah, it's kind of interesting now I look at it closer, the frets don't go right to the edge of the board, and I guess that's an intentional design feature because that's what gives them the very, very nice rounded finish on your hand when you're playing across the neck. The more and more I look at it under light, I love the mother of pearl inlay. Yeah, and we'll have to do another test and get it up on the board and have a look at what the bracing is like and everything else inside. But structurally, at first view, it's an incredibly impressive guitar. Really like the binding, the detail. The wood grain is gorgeous. It's got a really nice wood grain, and the binding on both sides, as well as on the front, make for a very nice feature. So aesthetically, I think it looks really cool. It's a really nice guitar to look at. But the proof's going to be in the pudding, right? It's going to be how it's going to sound. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a couple of minutes. I don't think anyone needs to sit here and watch me spend 5 minutes putting the strings into tune and giving it a bit of a belt to sort of see how it's going to sound. A couple of minutes, we're going to come back and I'll give you the first test run on what it kind of sounds like acoustic out of the box.